Don't make it complicated. Say what you wanna do. I'll keep on walking. The lights playing tricks on you. You want to open up your mind. Don't complicate it. You don't know what it's gonna feel like. This may be why you're getting nowhere. So what's the question? The answer's a perfect. Don't make it complicated. Say what you wanna do. Keep on walking. The lights playing tricks on you. You wanna open up your mind. Don't complicate it. You wanna open up your mind. Don't complicate it.
Local government has been on the same old path while society has evolved. Our risk-adverse, compliance-based and rule-bound culture is more often than not at odds with society's requirements of contemporary public service. Customers today want on-demand, 24/7, accessible and customised services they can help shape and influence. But local authorities' outdated structures, its complex hierarchy, its inability to listen effectively and one-size-fits-all approach means it hasn't adapted at a pace to fulfill expectations of 21st century public service. We've created a system of self-interest that, by its very nature, instills failure, and the result is that the gap between the path of local government and the path of society is continually widening. The relevance, legitimacy and viability of local government is threatened by growing staff and customer disengagement, deepening mistrust, and a whole host of complex and costly social problems. John and landlady Lil's story helps us to understand the fundamental problem with local government and why it's so important for us here at Monmouthshire County Council to reboot council culture. Understanding the two different paths trodden by society and local government is not about expressing opposing notions of good or bad or right or wrong. But what is fundamental is that local government and society share purpose in order that the two paths run in parallel.
Wow, I remember when I first got my first job with the council, I thought, how fantastic. A job for life where I could do something, make a real difference in my community to the people I cared about. What a legacy to leave behind for my kids. I just had this massive belief in me that I was there to do the right thing for people in the community. I soon came to realise, though many of my colleagues, a job for life meant something quite different. It was almost a reason to do very little without any consequence to them, hidden in this massive organisation. I remember asking my manager what he loved about his job, and he told me the flexi time. One night I got talking to my friend Alison. I grew up with Alison. She has a few pubs in the town. She's called Landlady Lil. She told me once about her last pub, the Fives, one of the oldest pubs in the town. And Alison told me how much, she cared about it. She actually used to keep an eye on the cobbles because they would come loose.
It occurred to me that the cobbled street was something that probably Chepstow should be proud of, because it's the only one left in the town, original. And all I could see was that they let traffic go up and down that road. You can actually go up it and down it still. And every time something like a largish vehicle particularly went down it or up it, it would kick up the cobbles. Rather than lose them, we would keep them, and I would ring the council occasionally and say, we've got the cobbles, have you come in to fix them? So I used to ring them up and say, I've got the cobbles, when your men come down to fix them, just knock on my door and I'll give them to them. I've kept them all for you. So they'd come down and I'd wake up in the morning because I could hear them working outside, and I'd stick my head out the window and say, are you fixing the cobbles? And they'd be like, yeah. I'm like, well, what are you fixing them with then? Because you haven't asked me for the stones. I've got the stones. And they were like, oh, no, it's all right. We'll fill it with tarmac. I'm like, you can't do that. I've got this. I'm like, run down. I give them the stones. And they're like, no, we don't have tarmac now. I've got a bucket, slosh, all the way down. And so then I would ring the council again and be passed around from pillar to post and say, well, this is not right. Surely we should do something about this. And I started up a little sort of like a neighbourhood thing, and I went round and put letters to everybody's boxes saying we should save the cobbles and all this kind of thing, do my bit for the community. I got a few responses from that, but we'd never got anywhere, because every time I rang the council, they'd say, yes, we'll send somebody out, yes, we'll get the stones off you. They never ever did, and they just continued to fill every hole with tarmac. So if you go down there now, you can see that it's a bit of a jigsaw with the old cobbles. A lot of them are loose, and a lot are just big black blobs of tarmac. And I think it's an absolute disgrace.
Infuriating, but sad. Sad that we as a council don't even care about our place. That was it. That was the light bulb moment. 1 minute sitting next to Alison or Landlady Lil, and then the next minute realising I'm a million miles away from her. But I really believed that I got a job in social services because I was fired up. I was radical and ready to change the world and anything that needed to be changed. I soon felt like my managers wanted to standardise me and put me in a box just like everyone else. I think my fire must have gone out at some point. Decisions went up the ladder, and my manager got told by his manager and their manager what the next manager's manager had decided. It doesn't fill me with pride to say I probably became one of them for a while. A zombie. I thought it was great to hit my targets, even though deep down I knew I was missing the point. Even though I was aware on some level that the things we were doing weren't nearly good enough in the first place. So why would we want to do those better? Why would we want to do the wrong thing better? I suppose I lost all sense of what it was to be real, authentic, meaningful. Me. Failure was something that scared the living daylights out of me, waiting for the tap on the shoulder. You've done something wrong, a reprimand. And what with the family and the mortgage, why would I take chances? So like all the others, me and my team did nothing because it was easier and safer. It's only now I see I failed because it was failure by omission rather than trying to do new things.
So, what is the solution? Well, in Monmouthshire, we recognise that the onus is on us to make the first move and bring the two paths closer together to narrow the gap between our council and our community. If we're to learn to adapt consistently and at a pace to fulfil customer expectation of 21st century public services, we must work much more closely and meaningfully with communities to improve our relevance and viability on the issues that matter most to them. We must reboot our system to ensure communities can access their county and their council on their terms, and we call this Your County, Your Way. Our solution is to ingrain innovation, the ability to be nimble, flexible, courageous in a cultural process, because we believe culture is what you grow people in.
That was then, but now it's fantastic. And I mean it when I say entrepreneurship has changed my life. I can remember on part of the training where I said, I'm not going back to my old job. And someone said to me, why? And I said, because I don't live there anymore. It's given me loads and loads of creative energy in work, which I think is starting to spread throughout the team too. What we've learned in the entrepreneurship school has been far more valuable to me than any management course I've done in the past. It's real, you know? The techniques I've developed can be applied to any issue. I feel more motivated and like I can engage more deeply with my work. We may not get it right on the first or second go, but lots of people are with us now because we're giving it a real go. As well as entrepreneurship and creativity and learning how to re-engage with the community, I've been involved in the systems thinking projects. This is just an incredible way of realising that all the previous rules and policies and procedures and red tape is just one example of how in the past councils have wasted time hitting targets that don't make any difference to people's lives. The system is much bigger than the local authority. The local authority is part of the system with the community. We're part of the system. We are not the system.
So we've developed our programme, our solution, on 5 key pillars of what we call positive interventions. And these are building a networked, open and agile working culture. We believe in systems thinking and in systems doing. We've pioneered a new programme called Entrepreneurship, a scheme that allows us to go out into the world and find best practice called Go Find, Come Play, and we're developing new effective listening tools. Positive interventions are about giving our people the space and permission to do better things. Improvement is a given, but for us it's just not enough. And our experience to date tells us that developing, testing new ideas and ways of working are helping us to get into and occupy the space between the path of local government and the path of society. And this enables us to create shared purpose. So these 5 positive interventions are changing the way that we work as an organisation.
I feel like the organisation has finally turned into one team. Team Monmouthshire, we call it, where many of the members are not local authority employees. They're just people who live in our place. I'm feeling more valued. When people ask me now what I do in the council, I find it hard to describe what I do because I just do what needs doing. I'm no longer defined by time or job role or job description. I'm a public servant. I no longer hang up my personality when I arrive in work because I may arrive somewhere else to be working. Maybe in a shop or somewhere with Wi-Fi, maybe at home, maybe outside of 9 to 5 hours. Do you know, I finally feel like I've got permission to do what I initially set out to do when I joined the council, when I thought it was a job for life. It's only now that I feel I got the space, the permission and the tools and the techniques to go with that passion wherever I need to go, whenever I need to do it, to get the job done, to connect with people, whether it be Landlady Lil, Mrs. Jones or someone else, defining the problem and using all of these skills, the knowledge and the permission to deliver better things. After entrepreneurship school, I bump into Alison and she tells me about a problem, and straight away I felt like I was a different person, no longer restricted by a job description or person spec. I said, of course we can help. This is our place.
I had a random conversation with John McConaughey regarding pop-up shops, which is an idea I'd seen. It's not new, I'd seen it, and I thought, well, can't we do that in Chepstow? We've got a lot of empty shops. Surely we should utilise some of them and stop making this town look derelict, basically. And straight away, John jumped straight on it, and he's like, we can do something about that. and went away. He must have had various conversations with people within the council, and then rang me up and said, there's people that want to meet you, they want to talk to you about this idea. So the difference in those years is immense. It's like everyone's proactive, everybody wants to do something for the community and for the county councils are getting on board with everything and trying to make things happen. And realising it's not a them and us situation, they are the gatekeepers of where we live, and so they have to listen to us. It's what we want and what we want to do for our community.
You want to walk back.